All right, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
You know, we always say this, but today's deep dive is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going where words can sting more than a punch.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, we're diving deep into the world of hip-hop diss tracks.
All right.
And our source material today is a YouTube video transcript that's just a powder keg of raw emotion accusations and some language that you definitely wouldn't use at your grandma's dinner table.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, right off the bat, this track calls to take these motherfuckers' heads off.
Mm.
And it accuses the other artist of being straight up jealous.
Right out the gate.
Like a lyrical haymaker.
It is. It's the statement.
So to help me unpack all of this is our expert in hip-hop history and culture.
Well, I don't know about all that, but I'll certainly give it my best shot.
I mean, you're the best we got, so.
I'll appreciate that.
So I guess to start us off, can you give us a little bit of context about diss tracks?
Yeah, absolutely. So diss tracks are really fascinating. They're like these public duels where artists use rhyme and rhythm as weapons.
Like a lyrical boxing match.
Exactly. They're a way to call out rivals, boast about your own skills, and settle scores, all through the art of wordplay.
It's like a verbal duel.
It really is, and it's become a defining part of hip-hop culture.
Now, you mentioned history, too, right? Like, this isn't something that just popped up out of nowhere.
No, not at all. The roots of diss tracks can actually be traced back centuries to traditions like poetic battles and insults exchanged between rivals.
Wow, so like Shakespearean times.
Even earlier, actually, think about the ancient Greeks with their epic poems and playwrights trading barbs through their characters.
So it's human nature to just want to go back and forth.
It seems to be a pretty universal urge to use words to challenge and sometimes even humiliate your opponents.
I mean, it's entertaining.
Absolutely.
And in hip-hop, it's like this art form.
Yeah, it's definitely been elevated to an art form in hip-hop.
So back to this particular diss track.
Right.
This line really jumped out at me. It says, "You asked me to get on one of your songs, so I did, and I killed away harder shit even Josh said I did."
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Like, what's the backstory here?
Right. Well, it sounds like we're dropped right into the middle of an ongoing feud.
Yeah.
But the lyrics hint at a past collaboration gone wrong.
Okay.
So maybe they were once friends, or at least on good enough terms to work together.
Okay.
But something went sour, and now they're using this track to air out their grievances.
Now, who is this Josh character that they're bringing into it?
Well, it's hard to say for sure without more information, but it could be a producer, another artist, someone who was present during the recording session and maybe even witnessed this clash of egos firsthand.
So they're pulling in a witness to back up their claims.
Exactly. It's like saying, see, even Josh agrees that I was the one who really killed it on that track.
Interesting.
It's a way of boosting their own credibility and undermining their opponent all in one line.
Then we have this line that I don't even really know where to begin.
Oh, yeah, which one?
It says, "So you got all the emotional, grabbed your boss, took him in, and now you're playing with pussy because you're soft from within."
Oh, yeah, that's a loaded one.
Like, where do we even start with that?
I think it's interesting how it blends personal insults with accusations of artistic compromise.
Right.
So on the one hand, you have the really crude language and personal attack, which is common in diss tracks.
Right.
But then it goes deeper with that accusation of playing with pussy.
Which, I mean, even outside of a diss track, I don't know if that's something I'd say to somebody.
No, probably not. But in the context of hip-hop, it's a way of saying that the other artist has gone soft, lost their edge.
Like they've sold out.
Exactly. They've compromised their artistic vision for mainstream appeal, and that's seen as a betrayal of the core values of hip-hop.
Because it's all about authenticity, right?
Absolutely. Authenticity is huge in hip-hop.
And it's interesting how they're tying that to masculinity as well.
Right. There's that classic idea that showing emotion or vulnerability is seen as a weakness.
And in this diss track, being emotional is equated with being less of a man.
Right. And that's a really problematic aspect of the whole thing because it reinforces these harmful stereotypes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a diss track, so we're not expecting some profound social commentary.
Right, but it's important to acknowledge those underlying messages and how they contribute to these larger cultural issues.
Absolutely. And this whole idea of authenticity comes up again and again in the lyrics. Like, there's this line, "Never met such a fake bitch talking shit, all on the media on some lame shit."
Classic diss track move.
And then another one, "You're just a sad guy."
Right, so they're really hitting hard on this idea that the other artist is not who they pretend to be.
So why is this keeping it real so important in hip-hop?
Well, in a genre where personal narratives and lived experiences are often front and center, authenticity becomes a measure of your worth as an artist.
Okay.
So if you're perceived as fake, it's like your whole foundation is crumbling.
Yeah, because people are connected with you on a personal level.
Exactly. They're investing in your story, in your struggles, in your triumphs.
And if that's all a lie, then it feels like a betrayal.
Exactly. So accusing someone of being fake is a direct attack on their credibility, their artistry, their entire persona.
And that could be incredibly damaging.
It really can, especially in a world where your reputation is everything.
So we've talked about accusations of being fake, but then there's this line that gets really personal. It says, "Until they see bitches you, a grown-ass man, bro, still living with mommy."
Yeah, that one definitely crosses a line.
Like, it's one thing to critique someone's music or their persona, but bringing their family into it, that feels different.
It does, and it raises questions about the ethics of using personal details as ammunition in these battles.
Right, because at what point does it stop being about the music and just become about trying to hurt someone?
Exactly, and that's a tricky line to navigate because diss tracks are supposed to be about pushing boundaries, provoking reactions.
Yeah, but there's a difference between clever wordplay and just being mean-spirited.
Absolutely, and it's up to each individual artist to decide where they draw that line.
And of course, the audience has a role to play too.
Definitely, they can choose to support or condemn certain types of behavior.
Yeah, I mean, if people aren't listening, then the disses lose their power.
Exactly.
So the artist in this track doesn't just stop at personal attacks. They actually go as far as to incite violence against the other artist.
Oh, wow. So how do they do that?
They tell fans to fuck your shit up.
Yeah, that's dangerous territory.
And it brings up this question of where do we draw the line between artistic expression and actual danger?
Right, because words have power and they can have real-world consequences.
Especially when you have a platform and a following.
Exactly, so it's a huge responsibility for artists to be mindful of the potential impact of their words.
But it's also a complicated issue because there's this long tradition of bravado and aggression in hip-hop.
Absolutely, it's part of the genre's DNA.
So how do we balance that with the need to promote peace and discourage violence?
That's the million-dollar question, and I don't think there's an easy answer.
So we've gone from boasts and insults to accusations of fakeness and even threats of violence.
It's been quite the journey.
What does this deep dive tell us about the pressures and complexities of hip-hop culture?
I think it shows us a world where competition is fierce, where reputation is everything, and where the lines between art and reality can get dangerously blurry.
Yeah, it's not all just fun and games.
No, there's a dark side to it as well.
And it's important to acknowledge that.
Absolutely, and I think it also leaves us with a big question to ponder.
Okay.
Is this level of aggression simply part of the game?
Like, is it just what comes with the territory?
Right, or is it a symptom of deeper anxieties and pressures within the music industry itself?
That's a really good question.
I think it's something worth thinking about because it goes beyond just hip-hop. It speaks to the pressures faced by artists in all genres in today's hyper-competitive world.
That's a great point, and I think it's a perfect note to leave our listeners on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a really interesting conversation.
Absolutely, and thanks to everyone out there for listening to On the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Take care.